Hello, and we're going to be talking about implementing the curriculum and engaging learners in science and social studies again, as always. Just finding different ways for you to teach. I'm going to share my screen. And here we go. So implementing the curriculum and encouraging choice. We're also going to be talking about encouraging choice to improve student learning. These are the objectives that we're working on. So you're going to find an interesting article in our module this week talking about making time for science and social studies in the early years and why it's so important. So I definitely recommend that you take a look at that. Also, in the article, they talk about digging deeper. So going deeper but not wider, and teaching thematically. Also, the option of do science and or social studies labs during writing workshop help teachers integrate and implement science and social studies within the curriculum, and maybe even thinking about doing this twice a week. What are some other ideas that you've thought of and tried? And those are the things that we're going to be sharing this week. So higher order thinking. In the last module, we talked about questions that we ask students that are intellectually meaty and student friendly. And higher order thinking is when we move from concrete to abstract and then back, and then we use techniques like productive questioning. And there's articles within the module to describe more of that. We want to also teach children about inference, and then also things like total participation techniques. We will talk about, and there is a great resource within the module this week about tools you can use to engage every learner. So we want to make sure that our learners are active learners, even if they're virtual. So how can we find ways to do this? So we're always going to come back to this. It's about the learning. It's not about the technology. Technology is awesome and critical and important, especially nowadays and especially during COVID. But how do we make sure that we're integrating technology purposefully? We're teaching those 4 C's: creativity, collaboration, communication, and critical thinking. And how can we do this with giving students project-based and inquiry learning in both science and social studies? We also want to use the formative assessments that we do. Remember the Flipgrid that we did, and the Padlet, and many other different ways that we formatively assess our students. And we want to take that information and then allow that to inform our teaching and learning. So what is working? Where have you been able to see that students are learning? What else have you noticed that they need more practice on? That's what you want to do with your formative assessments. So why do children need choices? This is from Duncan and Salcido. Children's minds are confined when they are not allowed to make choices, think on their own, or consider the many ways a problem could be solved. When children are limited to mundane tasks or experiences like project, art, flashcards, or letters of the week, they are cheated out of opportunities to truly engage their minds. It is our job as teachers to engage their minds, to get them thinking about solving problems. So providing them with choices helps that process as well. So here's some different ways to allow choice, but I'm sure you have different ideas as well. So you could allow students to choose their due date on an assignment, and this option allows them to work at their own pace. You can provide options for assignments that they can complete, and they choose which one they want to complete. So, for example, a choice board that lists the choices, like a tic-tac-toe board or a dinner menu board. Students can choose their own groups and who they work with. for a particular assignment, project, or activity. They can also choose to work on their own in some cases. Students can also choose their own topic to research, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Things like Genius Hour, where students can focus on their passion and interests. Another way to provide choice to students is to provide them with flexible seating. So there's lots of benefits of using flexible seating in the classroom. I mean, right now, it's probably not as easy of an option to include in a classroom where you have to worry about social distancing and sanitizing. But, you know, I'm sure there's ways you can think about it. But flexible seating allows children to burn more calories, use up excess energy, improve metabolism, increase their motivation and engagement. It creates a better oxygen flow to the brain and improves core strength and overall posture. How interesting. So how can you do that in a distance learning setting? I guess you can allow students to, at home, they can sit wherever they want, or they can walk around while learning, or stand while learning. Those are some different options you can think of. Or giving students options as far as asynchronous and synchronous learning. I'm asking students to sit in a Zoom session or some kind of online session all day taking in information is way too much. So how can we change up our thinking as far as how students learn? So Genius Hour is where you let passion lead learning. So Joy Kerr has a really great resource with lots of different items that can tell you how to get started implementing Genius Hour in your class. If you have Nurturing Young Innovators, it's also talked about in Chapter 3. So Kessler described Genius Hour as a movement that allows students to explore their own passions and encourages creativity in the classroom. It provides students a choice in what they learn during a set period during school. This can certainly work with distance learning as well. So, you know, thinking about Genius Hour and young learners, one thing you might want to do, and this is the same suggestion I would say for project-based learning, you could work as a group first when exploring this with young children, and then as they obtain more confidence, they can explore it on their own. You can also ask families to get involved and be part of the Genius Hour and the exploration of their child's passion. I'm sure most families would be excited to be a part of that. So you could suggest topics to start, maybe make a video on a specific interest topic, plan a garden, create something with wood or other woodworking materials, collect rocks and display and explain the collection. So here's the steps to implementing the Genius Hour, or whatever you want to call it. Ask students to brainstorm topics they're passionate about. Create a space where students can collect questions about the topic they're interested in. Oh, tell them to come up with non-Googleable questions. So really get them thinking about, and this goes back to those really intellectually meaty and student-friendly questions. Ask the students to come up with the questions. Provide time for students to do research each week. Ask students to record their stories and share their passions and plans, and have students, of course, share their completed projects. So one teacher, and this is also in Nurturing Young Innovators, had the children share about their failures. What a great way to encourage children that they can learn from their mistakes. They can learn from something that didn't go right. And it actually has, this will also be posted in our module, but there's feedback from their peers about what they are talking about too, which is a really great way to have children encourage each other to keep going and to take risks. And it's okay. So you can also use play to offer choice. So dramatic play offers a good way for young children to explore choice, where they can provide a variety of materials and props. Digital tools are really awesome in supporting personalized learning. ClassKick is a real-time feedback and it's instant. Students can also give feedback to each other. Evernote allows students to collect and share ideas. EDU Creations is a way where you can record voice and the iPad screen and then share the documents. KidBlog helps students publish writing online, share classroom activities with families. However, I'm going to say again that it's not about the tool, it's about the learning. So whatever digital tool you're using, just ensure that the students are learning. Another tip would be to allow students to choose their own tools. I've found from teaching that my students know more about tools than I do. So I learn about many options that I didn't know about from my students. So be open to that as well. So I love using choice boards, and this is one of the tic-tac-toe boards. This is where basically you're asking students, you give them a topic and then they have to draw a picture to tell their opinion about a topic, or they can come up with questions and answers about key details related to the topic, or they can invent a product or idea that would apply to a topic or a story. They could create a video to describe the events of the story. And there's always that block in the middle that provides them with a free choice. They get to decide what they're going to do. They could collaborate and create a puppet show script to tell about the story or events. They can dress up as their favorite character. Think about that regarding science and social studies. If you're doing something about famous inventors, they can dress up and pretend to be that famous inventor. They can research and present a topic or a favorite author. They can use digital tools to produce and publish information about the story or events. Also, dinner menu boards, which I'm going to link within our course as well, are a great way to give students choice, but maybe less choice. So as we allow our students to be creative, we also want to think about ways that we can assess for their creativity. So there's also going to be in our learning module a creativity and innovation rubric for problem-based learning. And it'll link here and provide you, actually there's different rubrics for critical thinking, creativity and innovation, and if you're having them do a presentation, there's a rubric there. So lots of different ideas. Okay. And that is it. So thank you all, and I enjoy seeing your upcoming projects. Have a great day.